Good morning, good evening, everybody. It's evening time. What am I saying? Hi, Brooklyn Squad. How you doing? You're welcome to come up. I'm just gonna talk a little bit because yesterday, well, the day before yesterday, I did a show on sexual harassment and bullying. Sexual harassment being a form of bullying. And so it didn't take like I wanted it to take. I think it took half of it. And so I wanted to come back today and fix it. Um, and hoping that this would be a better show where everybody could at least hear me. But I'm going to give a shout out to Brooklyn Squad. She's a creator on a show that's here on YouTube. And so some of y'all should, when you get a chance, look up Brooklyn Squad. She talks about different cases than what I do, but I enjoy listening to her. She's been great as far as supporting me. So get a chance, go over to Brooklyn Squad, real life drama. But I think if you just pull up Brooklyn Squad, you'll probably find her. But today I wanted to go over sexual harassment and the understanding the difference between sexual bullying is bullying behaviors, different types of bullying behaviors. So, according to familylives.org, any words or action of a sexual nature intended to pressure you to do something provocative with a cruel, it's more or less cruel intention, harsh intention, or cruel treatment, or sexual in nature can be seen as sexual bullying. The NSPCC has defined sexual bullying as any bullying behavior, whether physical or non physical, that is based on a person's sexuality or gender. It is when sexual or gender is used as a weapon by boys, girls, men, women towards other boy, girl, men, women. It could hit any of us. It doesn't care about your color. I guess it hits all nationalities. Um, Everybody can be a target of sexual bullying. What is the difference between bullying and harassment? And so we look at those two words and sometimes we don't understand the difference. And so I'm going to sort of bring that to you today, the difference between bullying and harassment. The main difference between bullying and harassment is that bullying is not punishable by law, whereas harassment is. Harassment is an offense under the law. Bullying can be seen as harassment. It can lead to harassment, but harassment is something more than bullying. Bullying is an intentional act that cause harm to others. Bullying and harassment are abusive ways of treatment towards others. People who harass or bully use cruel comments, threats, actions, gestures. Some of them try assault. They try to demean you, make you feel ashamed. It hurts others. Sometimes people who harass and bully do it with sexual comments or actions. This is called sexual harassment or sexual bullying. Sexual harassment and bullying include things like making sexual jokes, comments, or gestures, posting sexual comments, pictures, or videos, spreading sexual rumors. Some people can do it over the social media, some people do it in person, and some people can do it by text. Asking someone for naked photos of themselves, nude photos, uh, talking and or sending sexual pictures or videos. When I saw that, that sort of like uh, that was a teaching moment for me to see that. And so that's something that I definitely want people to be mindful of, because a lot of times you don't even look at that and you're courting, or, you know, stuff like this. Our parents never talked about in my day. We don't have these conversations with our daughters. They're in high school. You don't have the conversation. So now I'm challenging everybody, if you got kids that are in high school, have these conversations. Uh, Not only with our girls, but our boys as well. These conversations need to be had. Our parents didn't tell us, so we grew up learning the hard way, or at least I did. I don't remember my mama sitting down telling me anything. Just say, don't do it. And that wasn't enough, but that's how I was raised. But nowadays, it's like, gosh, I was just so lost. And sometimes your children don't understand what you're even talking about, because some of them are not at that level mentally. And so you first got to see where your child is mentally before you have certain conversations with them. Because some conversations, they may look at you like, well, I don't even know what you're talking about, because I have no clue what you're saying. So we have to look at our children age as well to see if they are of a mature age to have these conversations. But one thing I do see a lot of is women showing pictures, and men on the internet that should not be there, and women being pushed into sending, or not necessarily, I'll say pushed, because a lot of times they don't want to do it. Some don't, but he said, well, if you love me, you'll do it. Or it's just for me, and I'm not going to show it to anybody. And then when you break up and you find out all these pictures you sent trying to please that man is all over the internet. Or maybe he shared it with one person and that person shared it with somebody else. And next thing you know, it's all over the internet. And those pictures can't come down and you're sitting there embarrassed. So that's one of the reasons why we've got to have those conversations with our children. Um, Asking for sex or offering to have sex, touching, grabbing someone in a sexual way. Sexual harassment and bullying can happen online or in person. So I'm going to read that again. Sexual harassment and bullying can happen in person or online. No matter where it happens at, it's not okay. It's not okay. Uh, there is no excuse for the behaviors. behaviors like these. And the victim needs to know that it's not their fault. It's not their fault someone is doing this to them. And to me, what happens, like I said before, bullying starts out in school, and either the victim become a bully in some cases, or the bully continue to bully through school and get in the workforce and they're still bullying other people. So that's something to think about. If you or someone you know is being bullied, or if you're having conversations with your children, the first thing I will let them know it's not their fault. I would explain to them what it is, because a lot of times they don't know what a good touch is or a bad touch, and it's up to the parents to tell your children uh, what's a good touch and a bad touch. And it's sad that we got to have these conversations in our society, but we do, because the society we are in today is not like society was when I grew up. And to tell them, if they have been abused or assaulted, to tell someone they can trust, an adult. And if that adult does not listen, tell another adult, because what you want to do is stop the harassment and the bullying. Being a target of these behaviors is hurtful. Sure it is. It hurts a lot of people. Most people can cope if it happens one time, somebody being rude or making rude comments to them, but I think when it starts becoming a habit, or the person is doing it more than one or two times, it's sort of getting out of hand. It feels like the bully has more power. They could be older or stronger. Just an example. And it can be very stressful. In this case, a person being harassed may feel attacked or unsafe. They may avoid going to places where it happened, such as not wanting to go to school or not wanting to go to their job if they're an adult. They could be feeling sad, scared, angry, of all of these above. Stress can lead to poor sleep habits, worried, depressed, and if you're in school, it could definitely lead to low grades, which means that sexual bullying and sexual harassment can cause problems for the bully too. So the bully needs to be aware, not only does the victim have problems, but they could have problems too. Some of these behaviors are against the law. A sexual bully may not realize how these behaviors can affect their life. These are conversation. I think it happens to everybody, but it more so happens to ladies. I know it can happen to men too, but it happens to women most of the time. And you have to be mindful and not only have conversation with your girls, but you need to have conversation with your boys to let them know, um, don't touch a female without knowing the consequence. Because you have some females could holler, well, that felt uncomfortable. Okay. What's a good touch? What's a bad touch? Why not just don't touch them at all? Because you don't want anybody putting something on you and you didn't intend for it to be that way. So I think the best thing to do is to keep your hands to yourself. And what normally happens in a lot of these cases that people continue to do it, forcing themselves on another person, it could lead to a sexual assault or rape. And that is definitely a crime. This includes unwanted kissing, unwanted touching, or sex or intercourse. It is also a crime if an adult or a older teenager, y'all hear me on this, or a older teenager, as someone that is underage to pose for sexual pictures, or if they take part into any type of sexual act, whether it's on their smartphones or the webcam. This is called child sexual abuse. And child sexual abuse can lead you straight to jail. Hey, lady, come up. I dropped the link. So uh this is definitely a conversation that needs to be had with our children, because they don't know that this is a crime. A lot of them don't. And so, ladies, please tell your boys, if that girl that they trying to flirt with, whether she in school, if she's under the age, and they can both be in school, they can be considered as child sexual abuse. So don't be asking these young ladies to send you a nude picture over the cell phone, or let me see your breasts on the webcam. These are things that don't need to be done because they can get you into a lot of trouble and possibly can get you to jail. So we have to be mindful that even with dating, uh, these conversations definitely needs to be had. Yeah, I would definitely say, please have these conversations with our children. Here are some things that could help in most situations. Knowing the truth, reminding yourself that it's not your fault. So let your children know if this ever happens to them, it's not their fault. Let them know what they need to do. Find someone that they feel they can trust so that it will stop. Tell an adult, tell a parent. If you don't want to tell your parent, tell your friend's parent, whoever you feel comfortable talking to, a teacher or coach. But you need, if it turns into a sexual assault, it needs to be reported to the police. Most schools and jobs have workplace policies in place for sexual harassment. and bullying policies. So sexual harassment policy and bullying policies are on most jobs. You just have to tell someone that's higher up, your supervisor, manager, personnel, somebody you can trust, but get the help that you need. Because oftentimes, when you don't get the help, it can lead to depressed, anxiety, losing sleep, stressed, feeling depressed all the time. So you may need to talk with a therapist or a counselor. And so our biggest roles as bystanders. Let's look at bystanders. And I think that's a lot. A lot of times in school you see boys teasing girls and you're sitting there watching this. You are a bystander. Or you're at work and you're seeing it. You are a bystander. You play a big role in stopping harassment and bullying on the job and in school. Somebody has to stop it. Maybe the victim is not strong enough, but maybe you are to say something. Tell somebody, report it. Because the only way we can lower, um, we can decrease the rate or decrease harassment, somebody's got to tell. Somebody's got to tell. So if you see your friend or you see someone else at school that's being harassed, speak up, help them, say something. You can say something at the time and say, look, what you're doing is not a good idea. I don't think you should do that. Or what you're doing could possibly get you in trouble. And if it does it, you know, if you keep doing it, depending on what you're doing, you could go to jail. Report it to someone you can trust. If you're in school or if you at work, still report it. Someone is saying comments to you out of the way and you feel uncomfortable, report it. Um, Nowadays, I think you see women seducing men. So even as a man, if a woman is trying to come onto you in this unwanted behavior, you have just as much right as she does to report it because it could be seen as sexual harassment. This applies to men too, not only to women. And get the support you need. Find somebody that will listen that you can trust. This was an article that was done June the 21st, and this was by uh, Dr. Allison Dova. Allison T. Dova. And so another thing that I found out too, and this was from John Hopkins, All Children's Hospital, and they do a lot of different research and studies on personal issues such as this. So I'm gonna go over some of the things that they had that I found that was interesting that they were talking about. Because I feel like we know somebody that has been harassed. You see it at school, you see it on the job. And if you don't know nobody who's been harassed and you haven't been harassed, then when you do see it, say something. Because it leads to these cell phones can get a lot of people in trouble. Social media makes it easy for bullying to take place. Yep, online messaging, smartphones, and social media. But the problem is when bullying behavior involves unwanted sexual comments, unwanted suggestions, advances, or threats to another person, it's called sexual harassment or sexual bullying. And that needs to stop. Like I say, sexual harassment doesn't always happen to girls, it happens to boys too. Boys can harass girls, but girls also harass guys. Guys can harass other guys just like girls can harass other girls. This is the society we live in now. So, sexual harassment is not limited to people of the same age either. Adults sometimes sexual harass young people. Occasionally, teens may harass adults, which is pretty much rare. But most of the time, sexual harassment happens to teens. It's been done by people in the same age group, which means our teenagers at high school. What is that? 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. Sexual harassment and bullying is similar because they both are unwanted, unwelcome sexual comments, attention, or physical contact. So why call one thing by two different names when it's pretty much the same? But sometimes schools and other places use one term or for the legal reasons. For legal reasons, when it comes to the law, they may just call it harassment, which is against the law. The school behaviors may be against school policy and also can be against the law. So this is why teenagers definitely you have to have those conversations with them because you don't want your child. A lot of schools have zero tolerance. Nobody child needs to be kicked out of school for a behavior when you can just have the conversation with them. So I definitely say have the conversation with your children, boys and girls, especially in high school, so they would know what to do if they're ever a target. So I'm going to go over this again, the sexual harassment and bullying. It could include comments, making sexual jokes or gestures, spreading sexual rumors online by texting or in person, writing messages. You could be just writing it on the bathroom walls or in other public places. Showing someone inappropriate sexual pictures or videos. Asking someone to send you naked pictures of herself or himself nude. Posting sexual comments, pictures, or videos on social media like Facebook, Instagram, um, TikTok, Be careful. All the social medias are included. Making sexual comments, uh, pretending to be someone else online. Touching, grabbing, pinching someone in a deliberately sexual way. Pulling someone's clothes, brushing up against them in a purposeful sexual way. Asking someone to go out over and over again, even if they've told you no. That's harassment. If they don't want you, please go find somebody else. But don't harass them. You got to know the difference between uh, sexual harassment. Sending sexual messages, images by text or texting is not a good idea for many reasons. Sexting can lead to problems for you and the person getting the text, even when you are dating or in a relationship with that person. In some cases, these messages can be considered harassment or bullying and can bring very serious consequences. Also, messages or images you tend to have them as private can get into the wrong hands, which leads to humiliation, intimidation, and being embarrassed. So if you don't do it, you don't have to face those consequences. Even if you send a picture to your boyfriend or girlfriend, it can get into the wrong hand and get posted online for the whole world to see, especially when you break up. Forcing a person to do something that they don't want to do, such as intercourse, kissing, or sex, going beyond sexual harassment or bullying. That is going way beyond. When you are forcing somebody to do something, that is a sexual assault or rape. And that is a very serious crime. And in our society today, you've got to have the conversations with your teenagers, girls or boys. They need to understand these things, especially if they are getting to the dating age. Flirting. If it's unwanted behavior, just don't be touching nobody. Be careful what you say because it could get you into trouble. And so I would definitely say sit down and have conversations with your children. If you are an adult um, and you are being sexual harassed at work, whether you're a male or female, please report it. Tell somebody. It don't only happen to women, but it happens to men too. Because a lot of jobs do have policies in place. And being harassed can cause you to have a lawsuit or go to jail depending on what you're doing. And so I'm going to end that for today. I just wanted to bring awareness. Um, and the other one I was talking about, sort of like I, it didn't record like I needed for it to record. So I decided I wanted to go back over this part. And that is about to conclude what I have to say today. I enjoyed you, Brooklyn Squad, for stopping by. I enjoyed all my people who listen to my videos. Um, and I hope they are helpful, especially if you're raising teenagers or if you're in the workforce and you're being faced with situations like this, or you see somebody being faced with situations. Um, Say something, report it. If it means calling the police, report it. Definitely be safe out there, because society today is not like it was when we grew up. Things are a lot different nowadays. So, everybody, have a good evening, and I'll talk with you soon. Goodbye.